Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Plug In. This episode is going to be my review of the recently released Pokémon Legends Arceus game for the Nintendo Switch. So without further delay, let's plug in. I will try to keep this review as spoiler free as possible since it's only been a few days since the game's release at the time of recording. Pokémon Legends Arceus released on Friday, January 28th, 2022 and is the latest entry in the 8th generation of the Pokémon games. The game takes place in a Sinnoh region of the past known as the Hisui region, and your task is to create the region's first Pokédex of all the Pokémon inhabiting the area. While the graphics are what you would expect for a Pokémon game, but let's be real, nobody's playing Pokémon for graphics. The game's story is incredible and combined with the mechanics of the game, make this game one of, if not the best Pokémon game of all time. Now what are these mechanics I speak of? Well, this game completely changes the core mechanics of Pokémon. While you can still engage in a battle and catch them that way, and some do require that, you can now hide in the grass and throw a ball at the Pokémon in order to catch it. This change bypasses the whole battling system and also introduces a whole slew of mechanics never before seen in a game known as Pokémon behaviors. Every Pokémon has a unique way of behaving while in the overworld, and these behaviors can range from fleeing at any sight of the player to falling asleep in or next to the grass. So you have to plan your strategy to catch these Pokemon around these behaviors, and it makes catching Pokemon something that has seen little to no change throughout the past 25 years. Feel like a brand new experience every single time. But that's not the only thing they can do. Any Pokemon in this game is capable of using their moves and attacking the player at any given moment. Due to this, the player has a range of options they can do when in the overworld or in a battle. In the overworld, players can now dodge by pressing the Y button, and this feature is used to help both avoid wild Pokemon's attacks and take down the bosses that are within the game. The player also has access to certain berries and other items that can help camouflage themselves within the environment or distract Pokemon, allowing them to be caught easier. But the player can also now take damage from attacks and faint just like Pokemon do, which is a first for the franchise. If you faint from either fall damage or Pokemon's attack, you will lose some of, but not all, of the items you are carrying at that time. Another new addition to the world of Pokemon is crafting, and it is smooth. You can craft everything from various Pokeballs to healing items and items you can sell for money in the game. You can craft multiple items at a time, there's a whole interface for it, and you get access to the ability to craft stuff on the go a little later into the story as well. You unlock more crafting recipes as you progress through the game and rank up your star rank in the Galaxy Expedition team, which can be done by catching Pokemon and doing various research tasks with them, such as catching a certain number, feeding them a certain number of berries, evolving them so many times, using certain moves in certain ways, and a whole lot of other variety. That information can be seen within the Pokemon's Pokédex entry as well. Now let's talk about these Pokemon a little bit. Obviously, there are some new Hisuian forms of various Pokemon. I'm only going to cover some that have been shown in official media, so Hisuian Growlithe, Hisuian Zorua, etc. But there are a whole lot more that were not revealed. And just like Sword and Shield's wild area, Pokemon are all in the overworld, in all the different areas. But this time, however, there are alpha forms for just about every Pokemon, minus some. Alpha Pokemon are larger than their normal variants and may have moves that are harder to obtain elsewhere, and they're stronger than their normal variants. When you go into a battle with an Alpha, it will have an automatic boost to both its attack and defenses. And just like most of the Pokemon in the game, these Pokemon can be caught and they can be shiny, which is a whole nother thing they did right in this game. Shiny Pokemon. Shiny's got a major needed buff in this game as well. First, if a Pokemon is shiny, it will be shiny in the overworld, it'll have a unique animation that plays when the player is close enough, and there's now a special sound effect that plays whenever a shiny spawns. But that's not all. When you're in a battle, if there's a shiny Pokemon on either your side or the opposing side, there will be a symbol by its HP bar that indicates it is shiny. This is the first Pokemon game, aside from Pokemon Go, to have a symbol for shinies designated in the battle screen. And shinies are everywhere. The base odds for shinies are 1 in 4,096, just like Sword and Shield. But just from playing the story and completing the decks, I have a total of 7 right now. And there are also mass outbreaks, which are a certain number of various Pokemon. So for example, you may have a Bidoof outbreak, then that means that if you go to wherever it is on the map, and there'll be a certain amount of Bidoof that'll keep spawning whether you catch or defeat them, and those outbreaks have boosted shiny odds. But outbreaks can be for pretty much every Pokemon in the game, and they are also really good for forming alphas if you're trying to collect them all. And since this is a spoiler-free review, it's now on to my thoughts for the game. Now, I have played every Pokemon game to date, and I can say with confidence that from the quality of life changes with how you handle moves and evolutions, the catching mechanics and the battling mechanics, which there are certain ways you can move certain moves now, which is super fun, and the story of the game, I can confidently say that this is the best Pokemon game to date. Without going into any spoilers, this game is worth the money solely for its story. The story is so good that everything else in the game is just bonus content. If you have had any doubts about getting this game or any thoughts on it, even if it's been a few years since you've played a Pokemon game, this one is a must-grab. And that's going to be the end of my review for Legends Arceus. I may come back to this game later on, once more time has passed, and do a full spoiler review because it's that good, but as of right now, I do not have a plan to do that. If you are behind on any episodes or just tuning in for the first time, you can catch up with the other ones wherever you're listening to this episode at. And if you like what we do, then be sure to share it with your friends, your family, or whoever else you can think of. And for the Plug-In Podcast, I'm Cade McChesney. Goodbye, and as always, happy gaming.